Hello, and welcome to another round of Spudventures. This week, we are starting a new Spudventure, the Ironclaw Infiltrators mini-campaign, our second foray into the Root tabletop RPG by Magpie Games. And so our GM for this campaign will be GreatDinn. Take it away.
Hey, hi, hello, everybody. Yes, welcome back. It's me in the seat again. I have taken off my hiatus to do a quick game before we get back into the Forgotten Ones, and I'm doing it because the Root system from Magpie Games, powered by the Apocalypse system, had a whole bunch of updates recently. Some new classes. They reconfigured some of the skills and whatnot. There's less just outright murder in the weapon moves. But they added a whole bunch of new character classes and equipment and stuff that seemed neat, so I wanted to give it a go. Anyways, joining us as always, we have Newbiespud playing Mint, the squirrel Vagrant.
The callback.
We have AvisEcho playing Siva, Kestral Seeker.
I'm really entertaining with my namings.
You are indeed. We have VerminQuest playing Yuki, the fox Ronin.
Hello.
We have DigoDragon playing Brixie, the wolf Arbiter. Digo? Are you muted?
Oh, yeah, I was muted.
It always has to at least one per session.
It was a sneeze. It was worth it.
Yes.
That's fair.
Best not to do that directly into a microphone. And we have Winged Cat playing Vost, crow Scoundrel.
People have a chip on their shoulder. Vost has a bomb on his shoulder.
So yes, unlike last time, instead of doing the co-GM thing, I decided Winged Cat should get a chance to play as a player. So this time they're playing as a scoundrel, and we'll see.
And I thank you for that.
We'll see how that works out for everybody. Okay, so since we did a bunch of the stuff, a bunch of the background stuff behind the scenes. Would you like to would you all like to introduce your characters for the audience so that they kind of get a feel for who you are, why you travel around the forest, and maybe a little bit about how you're connected to the others?
Certainly, I'll get started with that. I'm playing, once again, Mint, the same character I played in Din and Winged Cat's Renegades of Riverhop Root campaign a while back. You can watch that on my channel, etc., etc. Plug. Once again, I'm playing a squirrel Vagrant, which is to say I am a grifter. I like to smooth talk my way into and out of trouble, and generally just kind of a con man among the woodland creatures, but trying to play a white hat for the denizens' sake, because someone's got to play dirty on the regular guy's behalf, and it ain't gonna be any of these military assholes. So that's Mint. I've had Mint. I get in the time between like last campaign and this one, Mint's kind of presumably had a lot of adventures ripping off Area and Marquisat alike. And a couple of people in this party, know me previously from some adventures. I've accidentally kind of made like a squirrel version of Lupin the Third a little bit.
I hadn't thought of that now, but you're freaking right.
Except like instead of like the fancy jacket, he's got like a big fashionable hat now. Like he is all about the charm now. But yeah. Yuki's got a Fox version of going on. But my connections, such as they are Vost knows me because I kind of it was a whole thing. I think it was the Eerie. They were about
the Eerie
to,
and the Marquisat.
The Eerie were about to press a whole bunch of denizens, draft them into their army for this whole conflict that was happening in that far off clearing. And we sort of like got them all to go away right as they were about to be drafted. So it was like a heist of hearts and minds to just take away potential like resources are there. So I got in trouble for that, but Vost bailed me out. And that's how Vost and I know each other previously. Yuki knows me because I tried to run a con on someone that they were working for and kind of turned it back on me until I kind of convinced them that, like, hey, your boss is kind of, you're a mercenary and your boss is kind of doing some bad stuff. And that's kind of how that turned out.
You're a merc, but you're a merc with, like, rules? So maybe we can work that out, maybe?
Yep. I am the smooth-talking mastermind. That is Mint the Vagrant. Imagine a squirrel, like a cartoony squirrel in sort of the style of the Root illustrations, but like with a big fashionable hat. And a number of like military insignias in his pocket that he can like quickly fashion into a disguise for either faction.
It's the only thing I will say is it's a shame you're not a rabbit, because then we could really continue the joke with Lapin the Third.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been great. Maybe in another Root campaign, but I was really tempted to just bring Mint back again because I really enjoyed Mint last time.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, I cede the remainder of my time.
No worries. No worries. Since they were brought up, Vost, Yuki, either of you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, so Yuki, she is a Ronin fox. She kind of is a very strange sight in the current setting, since she's not from around here. She does usually wear sort of Eastern clothes. She carries around a katana. And she is just a wandering samurai in a strange land. She formerly had a lord that she was the vassal to, but something happened back home. She was sent to protect a charge that had to run away to uh, where we are right now, and she's been searching for that person since then. In order to make ends meet, she takes jobs as a mercenary. She doesn't ask a lot of questions about the types of people, but she does have a contract with her sort of code of honor that people have to agree to, and if they don't, she considers the contract void. Yeah, she has connections. Since her time here, she's met Brixie and Siva, in addition to Mint. Brixie and her, they work together on her first real task in the woodland. They were deposing a dangerous authority figure of a faction. Let's see.
Presumably eerie, given that you both kind of have issues with them.
Yeah. So it was
Since-
an eerie one. And then with Siva, I think, and I think when Avis gets to talking about Siva, you'll learn a little bit more. But she met her and has a lot of reminders of the Lord that she used to work for. So I think she kind of finds her like faith in the sort of dragon cult to be interesting. Her master had taught her about the dragons that used to be around in their location, which were much different than the ones that you hear about over here. And so she just kind of looks at Siva and wants to, I don't know, just keep her out of trouble.
Given Avis's play style, good luck with that.
I was gonna say, good luck.
But yeah, there's also that element of like, protect the master you could not protect back home kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Vost, would you like to go next?
Sure. So Vost used to be a loyal, upright, standing soldier of the Eyrie. And then he saw what the Eyrie are actually about at their worst. There was this woodland. We'll not bother to name it, due to the dead. The Eyrie, the Alliance, and the Marquisate. So a Marquisate ship came on, having been chased by a hurricane. The Eyrie and the Marquisate got to fighting as they do. The hurricane came closer. The Woodland Alliance started messing in. The hurricane came closer. It became obvious that any responsible government needed to evacuate everyone. The hurricane came closer. The fighting continued. And eventually, Vost and his fellow soldiers were ordered to keep fighting and keep everyone from evacuating in the middle of a disaster that, between the hurricane, flooding, landslides, and everything, would wind up wiping out that woodland. And they were ordered to keep fighting. Eventually, he had enough of that and turned on his superiors. If it hadn't been for Mint and Brixie, that would have been the end of his story. Fortunately, Mint and Brixie were there at different points. And suffice to say, they did manage to get a number of civilians out, and Vost has a taste for revenge against the distant nobles of Ironclaw that ordered this whole catastrophe. He has gone from, he may have been an Arbiter before, he is a Scoundrel now. And he knows how to make bombs. Oh boy, does he know how to make bombs.
All right. Brixie, Siva, who would like to go next?
You want to go next, Avis, or you want to be for last?
It don't matter to me.
Okay, I'll go. Brixie, was also a soldier. Probably where she met Vost. And, she's a big wolf, prides herself in some of her strength and uses it to protect others. Because during her time as a soldier, she too saw some of the atrocities that the military did in their campaign through the Eyrie. And she once protected Vost from a mortal blow during a fight. And would Brixie do it again? Of course, because burb meat very tender when punched, and that's not a good thing to have in a friend. So obviously, protect your friends. They are important. They have your back, you get their back. Siva and Brixie worked together to help a faction take control of a clearing at one point, and they shared responsibility for it, which is how those two met.
Siva presumably doing more of the brain work, while Brixie did most of the labor.
Work. Yes.
Brawn work, yes.
Yes. So Brixie's a pretty simple gal. She just wants people to be protected and safe, She wants to make sure justice is done when atrocities happen. She is definitely holds high her drives and her nature as a defender through the various clearings in the Eyrie.
Right, all right. And last but not least.
Have you welcomed our lords and saviors, the dragons, into your heart? Hi. Listen, y'all. Sad, depressing. I'm just gonna be be
I'm
the
not
happy.
sad or depressing. I have fun.
Well, we're gonna all have fun. I am playing Siva the Seeker, which I believe is new.
It is. It's one of the new ones.
It's one of the new ones. Which means she's explorer. She's looking for knowledge and delving into ruins, uncovering secrets and wonders all throughout. She is a member of the Lizards Cult, of a faction that I have named Worm Dream, who believes that they wake up the dragons by uniting everyone in the woodlands through belief and not violence. Not violence, please. She is very fond of Yuki, who she sees as a peer, because she did bring up the information of the dragons from her homeland, which is vastly different, which only makes the small burb happy. And then I also have Mint here, and I can't for the life of me remember why.
We hadn't. That
Yeah.
was the sort of last minute cycle that we did. So unfortunately, it's not quite as.
Let's figure it out then. What do
sturdy, but yeah.
What category am I under for you?
You're under partner.
So it's
I and Mint have
Mint-
seen the wind. Oh,
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's your character.
I and Mint, which is wrong grammar, have seen the wonders of the woodland together. What makes them a stalwart companion in my travels?
Seen the wonders of the woodlands together. There might have been something involving, like, some manner of archaeological dig that had some wonders in it.
She would love that.
True enough.
Love
true
that
enough.
very much.
Good opportunity for.
There was a
con.
there was a con there involving Marquisat and a forgery. Basically forging an artifact, but along the way and sort of making my way into the dig, found some actual artifacts and had to figure out how to get them out from under the Marquisat who were controlling the area. Yeah. And so we were momentarily partners as we engaged upon the hidden wonders of the woodland.
If
that sounds good.
If I may offer just a small bit, but just based on like how we've talked about the characters, it kind of feels like Siva and Mint might be the members of this little group who actually have like conversations more often. Just like I not to discount the others, but like maybe a balancing factor of Mint being the kind of little bit cynical person that he is versus Siva's much more optimistic outlook on things.
That sounds about right. I mean, I'm not like Mint's not like outright like I guess whatever the equivalent of misanthrope
nihilistic.
would be. Yeah. But definitely kind of like, yeah, everyone's kind of out for themselves, and I know how to manipulate that, so I might as well do it for good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sort of like weaponized cynicism for optimistic purposes.
Yeah.
To which Siva is like, no, let us work together, because when we work together, good things happen, then great things happen, and the dragons awaken.
That's nice, Siva.
That is kind of exactly how I pictured it. Is maybe rejecting the dragon part, but accepting the like, you know what, working together isn't bad.
No. I mean, you need a crew to pull off a heist. That's just basics.
Exactly. So, let's talk about the specific setting of this adventure. The five of you, after your varying journeys and getting together to travel to the northern section of the Great Woodland, are approaching a region known as the Ironclaw. It is a tight bundle of 5 different clearings. Excuse me, my coffee's coming back. Sorry. A tight bundle of 5 different clearings each sort of under the sway of a particular senator in the Erie dynasty. However, you have heard rumors that the Ironclaw is currently undergoing something of a political schism. And it's resulted in the normally impenetrable clearings being quite accessible in a way that it just previously has not been. The guards are still high, the guards are still on high alert for a variety of reasons, but the Ironclaw is possibly for the first time in maybe a century or more open for taking, and that is a very important thing for a lot of people, because the Ironclaw has been a structure in the Erie dynasties since it was a kingdom, a singular kingdom back in the times before written history. And it is where the Erie store everything they don't want anyone else to touch, be that weapons or prisoners or knowledge or just gold. Subsequently, the Ironclaw has had some of the tightest defenses imaginable for the Erie, and the region itself is fairly inhospitable to those not exactly in the clearings. You five are approaching from the most accessible point, Mosswort. Mosswort Clearing was formerly blockaded by a raging river known as the Mosswort River, but over the last couple of years it has been dammed up to allow greater access for trade, as while the Ironclaw clearings can produce their own food, they're a bit limited in what they can make. So they need some amount of trade. And Mosswort is where they have allowed briefly things to open up. You are not in the clearing yet, however. You are on the outskirts. You can see the banks of the river, what's left of it. You can see the once mighty Mosswort Bridge, which is now less notable due to the fact that the water level is significantly lower. And you can see that there are still a patrol of guards sort of watching the edge, and presumably from the great watch tree in the central island of Ironclaw, there are yet more far-sighted guards available. So, you can see that there is a merchant caravan that is on the bridge and speaking with one of the guards to sort of get regular passage in to drop off whatever their cargo is, pick up something from the Ironclaw and leave, perhaps. But you could also try to just sneak in through the regular paths, through the patches that are forming in the watch. How would you like to proceed?
So, to sum up, this is the Irie's personal cross of Fort Knox in Area 51.
Exactly.
And it's our job to infiltrate the multi-city compound.
Exactly. Whether you want to do that for some amount of treasure, to get revenge, as Winged Cat had stated earlier, the battle of... Hold on, I wrote it down. Where's my list? The battle at... Oh, shoot. It's on here. Sorry. My text is not as organized as I thought.
I thought we were leaving it nameless, actually.
Oh, I came up with a name because I started tying it to characters.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, sure thing.
It was...
To name the unnameable. Din is certainly great.
No, I believe I called it Moonglow Clearing. Yeah, so Moonglow Clearing, one of the commanders of the Ironclaw is the one who sort of pushed for that particular battle to commence, from the Erie side, at least.
All right, so that's one of our objectives.
Vost is certainly going to try to pretend to be part of that merchant caravan.
Hold on. The merchant caravan's already in there talking. If we show up, we have to convince both the merchant to go along with it and the guards to go along with it. I think I think there might be a simpler path there.
The merchant caravan is there to demonstrate the fact that there are legal ways to get in, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I would like some kind of legal cover for us and not just be fugitives the whole way inside. That's my personal preference. I think that'll keep things easier for us in the long run than
Vost can certainly pretend to be a merchant, and if you want to be the merchant's entourage, well, that would give you cover.
Sure. I guess we'll need a cart and some supplies.
No cart. Vost has stuff that he can sell. He's selling weapons.
Okay, so you
go on for 2 seconds. We're basically the equivalent of evangelists. Y'all are following me, so you can learn the wonders of living under the dream of the dragons when they eventually awaken and save the woodlands.
Think they would allow evangelists in here?
Not automatically, but it would give us a really innocuous cover if we could get them to allow it. I think they're just not going to want evangelists in their, there's
a specific word that I'm looking for, and that's the one that I came up with. It's not the exact word.
I had a feeling. But I mean, it's something you can certainly try. Sounds like you were going to say something, VerminQuest?
Yeah. What do we know about how the Eerie had treated the dragon cult people? Right now, anyways, that could be a big thing on if this would work or not.
It's really going to depend on the clearing because, as with everything, it's not all sort of it's not all a monolith sort of situation. There are some clearings whose interactions with the lizard cult are going to be much more along the lines of the worm blood, and it's been very violent and grabbing people at their lowest and sort of inflaming tensions and that sort of thing. And people who've interacted with that side of it aren't going to be too happy about it. There are some sects of the lizard cult just flat out despise the Eerie because they believe the Eerie are the ones who drove the dragons away. There's no definitive text that says so, but it's a lot of oral history to begin with, so it's a bit difficult to say one way or the other. And there are some that have only dealt with the positive sides, and while not been firm believers in the Worm Dreamers, have been accepting of their generally pleasant presence because they're just nice people.
We are nice people. We just carry big books.
So let's look at the basic moves real fast.
Yeah.
This sounds like read a tense situation from someone.
That
in
might
fact,
be.
since it's related specifically to the Worm Dreamers, I'm gonna have Siva do that if that's okay.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. So
And that is
cunning.
so that's +1. It's 2d what again? I'm sorry.
2d6.
2d6.
2d6 plus bonus.
Yes.
Where goes
Daylight
please?
Infiltration 101. Oh, hi.
I'm
That's
wiggling
all.
if you don't. If you can't realize, I'm wiggling in excitement right now.
Oh, snap! An 11. Okay. So you can ask 3 and take 1 on acting out the answers. What's your best way in, out, or through? Who or what is the biggest threat? Who or what is most vulnerable to me? What should I be on the lookout for? And who is in control here? You can ask 3 of those questions.
Outstanding.
Very good first roll.
It's going to be the highest roll I do all day.
I have some doubts.
I guess the obvious of no, because we kind of already know that answer now, don't we? What's the biggest threat?
Okay, I was just going to answer them all once you'd asked them all.
Oh.
So,
Just pick 3 right now.
Oh, okay.
if you want to do it in response to like the information you get, I can do it that way. That was my thought process. So, all right, what is the biggest threat? From what you can see, the guards are on relatively low sleep in Mosswort. They like the ones arguing with the merchant are actually arguing and are clearly sort of generally upset. It doesn't seem like the merchant has actually been doing that much to piss them off, but is still raising his voice and kind of being a real jerk. And so you can tell that these guards are on edge, irritated, and likely to take offense much more easily than usual. But conversely, might be easier to trick
That
than
is
usual.
very good to know. All right,
I just remember listening to people play Powered by the Apocalypse games, and it's always easier to like hear the answer, go one answer first, and get a response because then it can influence what you ask next.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't thinking. My brain was
No
just.
worries.
It's been a bit.
It's okay.
It's
been a hashtag week. Who or what is most vulnerable?
Who or what is most vulnerable to you? You can tell that these the guards currently dealing with the merchant are probably going to be less likely to respond well to anyone trying anything, even slightly like sneakily. But you can tell that there is a new set of guards coming around shortly, and one of them looks a little more green than the others. Not sick, but just like young
Fresh.
and clearly kind of nervous.
There we go. That's our mark.
And what should I be on the lookout for?
So things to note, the weather has been unpleasant lately, as demonstrated by that hurricane that what happened a few days ago in a few clearings south. So the sky is currently, sort of gray and dismal, but that has not stopped the sorts of patrols. You can see that among the guards, among the reasons they haven't been getting much sleep is because everything is polished, sharp, and alert. There are serious patrols, and you can see into the Mosswort clearing itself, the sort of townspeople there. A lot of them look on edge as well. And if you keep, you see just the slightest hint of a few eyes darting up to the watch tree in the center of town. You get the distinct feeling that the whoever is stationed at the watch tree are actually the most dangerous guards to be wary of.
And they've got binocular vision.
I mean, you put the birds of prey up there. You put like the golden eagles up top.
Yeah.
You put the sparrowhawks. You put the falcons.
You best pray there's not a peregrine falcon up there, or there's going to be some serious problems.
Yeah, I mean, given what you said, I can't take on a falcon.
So, anyways, that is your information. So you get a +1 on acting out answers.
So I think we're going with trick the green, the freshie, into believing we are a religious caravan who has business in town.
Yeah, which means we have to wait until the guards swap out a little bit.
I mean, we've been
hoping that
we've been camping this place anyway. We've been watching. We can wait a little longer.
Yeah.
And
And
hoping
if
that
we're waiting-
nothing happens from the little argument that seems to be occurring right now.
If-
Go ahead.
If we're waiting anyway, Voss is going to brew up some tea to share with the guards.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that'll
To
help.
share with the next shift of guards, the ones that we approach, not the current shift.
Yeah, when we
Yeah,
come up,
yeah.
having an offering to the guards is probably not a bad idea, especially if it's something to perk them up. Yeah, it's a good idea. I like it.
I like it.
Yes, spread goodwill, warm them up,
Exactly.
both mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Alrighty. Yeah, that seems simple enough that I don't think you'll even need to mark depletion for that. So cool. Sounds like a good idea.
Voss isn't even poisoning this.
Yet.
Vost.
Oh,
No,
No!
this time he's being honest. This time he's not poisoning it.
You must really like them then.
I clearly need to keep a... I mean, I know this, but I need to keep a strong eye on you.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing Vost being like, look, I have my poisonous plants clearly labeled, and I'm drawing from the not poisonous plants.
Basically.
distressed small bird of prey, please.
Alrighty. So an hour passes somewhat peacefully. You see that the merchant, after the argument, the guards actually open up the back of his caravan and are checking out the wares before he can even get into town. And you see them drag someone out of the caravan,
Yep.
who's clearly hiding.
Oopsie.
Uh-oh.
And both that person and the merchant are, shall we say, forcibly ejected. And the entire cart is confiscated.
Yep.
You hear something along the lines of from one of the guards of, "You're lucky we're not killing you."
Yeah, they are very keen on looking for smugglers into this place. Yeah. Glad we didn't go with that.
From it's possible you could have gotten away with it. It's just a matter of, like, these particular guards are finishing up a very long shift. And the Ironclaw has always been pretty sort of a stickler about outsiders. The fact that Mosswort even opened up for trading is a relatively recent development. And even then, it's you get something along the lines of a 5-day pass at best, unless you are offering to live there for 10 years to get permanent citizenship. Then you are allowed to travel to the other clearings of the Ironclaw.
Wow.
It is an unfriendly place to outsiders because of all of the, things.
All right, then. Good to know.
Anywho,
I'm going to be
so
saying that
an
a
hour-
lot.
Yes, I did spend a long time thinking this up, so.
I'm very glad you did. Thank you.
Anyways.
Fort Knox is strict? Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed? So yes, it's not just like Fort Knox, it's also the combination of, as you said, Area 51, and Alcatraz, and also considered a site of importance to the Erie. It's a bit
Also military
like
high command, yeah.
Yeah, and the Vatican.
It's basically the Vatican.
Actually, yeah, simplifying it to the Vatican probably is the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, actually. Military Vatican, yeah.
It is worse than Fort Knox.
It's even got the whole Roman thing going on with the Erie. Anywho. Yes, so an hour passes and you are able to approach the bridge after the change of guards.
All right.
How would you like to proceed?
make an attempt to make sure that the party is looking like, I guess, what a religious caravan, spiritual sort of general garb and posture, with some vagabond accompaniment for security, but generally like trying to make us look as like reasonably unthreatening as possible, with Siva front and center.
I was about to say that Siva's probably should be the first one who goes up.
You also have the bonus from reading the situation, so.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Like,
you do have a +1. Excuse me, and I do know that you all can assist. I'm just trying to remember the specific roll on that one.
We can mark exhaustion to add to their roll.
Right. That's how that one works. Mark exhaustion to add +1 or -2 to the roll after rolling. And then another exhaustion to conceal your aid or interference or create an opportunity or obstacle. So, yes, you are free to approach the guards. They both say halt at roughly the same time, although you can see that the younger, greener guard is a bit late on putting his spear to sort of cross, and he looks a bit sheepish at the other guard as that happens. But yes, you approach. How would you like to proceed?
I had like a whole line that I was going to say, and now it's just like gone out the
Disappeared
window.
into the ether, yeah.
It's like I only remember like half of it, so we're gonna see how this goes.
And as they're approaching, Mint's just like kind of like elbow to the side, just being like, just do your thing. The thing you always do to me, and it should be fine.
Oh boy. Heck.
Just
Can't
preach
believe-
at him. You'll trust me. You'll be convincing.
Can't believe you cursed in our first session. My gosh.
Greetings and blessings of the worms upon you, dear friends. We're here to bring, speak the words of greatness and wonder, of cooperation and unity, and maybe give you something to warm up your own selves with how dreary it is, dear friends.
And I gesture for Vost to approach with the tea.
Gestures with tears.
Vost
I will drink it too if I
approaches-
need to like convince them that it is not poison.
Vost approaches, lips sealed, trying to evoke the manner of a monk, just coming up and offering the tea.
All right. The both guards take it. The sort of older ones, you can see, is giving it a quick look and a sniff before actually just taking a sip, while the younger guard looks at it with suspicion, like, "Are you trying to poison me on my second day?"
Is this allowed?
And
this wasn't in the handbook.
Yeah, this wasn't in my book.
Would this face do you wrong? Would it steer you wrong at all? The answer is no, because I have no charisma whatsoever.
Can I invoke my pleasant facade to butter up an unsuspecting NPC?
Oh, 100%.
All right.
Alrighty,
so that will be roll with charm.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of my very
At least
good
someone
skills.
has charm here, because it's not me.
Yes. Hold 3.
Nice.
Spend my hold 1 for 1 to deflect their suspicion or aggression away from you into someone or something else.
God damn.
So I just deflected their suspicion by just kind of like tilting my head towards the older one who's already taken a sip, and he's like, he's fine.
The the guard like looks between you and his superior and goes, "Okay, yeah, you're right." Takes a sip, and you can see he actually is perked up by the tea. He's rather he rather enjoys it. It's the nicest thing to happen to him all month.
Yeah, after all the training of the last month, yeah.
All the training, the storm, yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So he is he takes a moment, enjoys another sip of the tea, and goes, "So you're just here to do a little preaching for the who? The dragons?"
Yes, the wondrous dragons who preach of unity and cooperation between all.
Takes a
As once we
moment.
all work together, we are all one.
Takes a moment, looks at the other guard who's just sort of enjoying the tea, and a few of you notice a small smirk on their beak as they're enjoying watching their new recruit sort of squirm under the pressures of guard.
Dealing with the crazies. Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably funnier because this is another bird.
I know. The younger guard takes a moment and goes, and how long will you be staying exactly? Or how many days will you be staying?
I think. Well, the norm seems to be 5, so let's say 5. We don't have to stick to it.
True enough.
An average of 5, enough to speak our words and to rest our weary feathers, claws, and talons.
And I do think I'm going to need a roll here.
Is he suspicious? Because I'm still holding 2 to deflect his suspicion onto something else.
It's I think it's the sort of general suspicion that any guard would have just working in the Ironclaw.
That's fair.
So it's 5 days seems like maybe a bit too long. Just because the only people you'd be able to interact with would be those in Mossfort. At least legally. I still think this is persuade an NPC.
All right, Siva.
And so, yeah. So roll with charm, but remember you get a +1.
Yeah, so it's even. Because I have a -1 in charm.
Oh well, it can't be perfect.
Mint or Vost able to
Can't be a
roll on this?
perfect bird? What?
It's Siva making the claim, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
The
11.
dice love us today.
Hooray! Yes, so on a 10 plus, they see things.
I rolled nothing but ones.
On a 10 plus, they see things your way. The guard will nod, and he will pull out a few reams of parchment that appear to have some sort of emblem embossed on them, and he will ask for each of your names and your sort of and he will write down for all 5 of you affiliation worm dreamers. So do you give him your actual names or fake names?
Fake names.
I was like 5 seconds from putting the real name, so unless you're gonna stop her.
I lead the example by just saying like, yep, I am Alvin.
Brother Alvin. All right.
Brother Alvin.
Should I spin her name around and reveal my hand?
Brother Theodore.
Don't mind me just Googling what the Chipettes' names were, because I can't remember.
No.
I'm not actually going to ask that. You can. It's fine. You can just say fake names. So yes, go ahead.
Sorry. And then after everyone gives a fake name, Yuki will say, Sister Yuki.
Mint will just kind of just like that sort of like tired grin, just like, yeah, saw that one coming.
I don't think it's quite enough to advance, but I admire sticking to your principles. I don't think this early on it's quite enough danger for you.
No.
But yes, you all receive these documents, and the guard informs you that if you are stopped, to reveal them to whatever guard is stopping you. And subsequently, they say very clearly, like, Mosswort is the only permitted clearing to visit.
Understood. Do we have entry now?
You have entry. You are free to enter the clearing of Mosswort.
Well, that's step one down.
Yay.
So, Mosswort is the largest of the clearings. You can see it is a fairly lush and green location. It seems like they really had to kind of break down the forest of this area in order to form a clearing, and it's still like coming back with a vengeance if they're not careful. But the people here are generally friendly. There's a steady supply of food and water. You can see paths leading to the two closest clearings of Windbrisk to the north, to the northeast, and Spine Rock to the southeast. And the clearing is home to a whole bunch of different houses. You can smell a bakery. Seems to be a fairly large one. There's several sort of mill areas that appear to be are very distinctly not Marcusat based. It's very classic sort of wood processing rather than the sort of technological advancements that the Marcusat has brought. And there are a whole plethora of citizens, and you can tell that there's a lot of what seems like a statistically improbable number of tourists here. It seems like more people have been let in recently than usual, if you had to take a wild guess based on what you've heard of the Ironclaw. But you could also be wrong. It could just be that this is the normal amount of non-citizens, but there's definitely a lot of people who are like camping out at the edges of the clearing instead of staying at an inn or something along those lines.
We might not be the only crew operating here. That's my first thought.
What I can tell you is that the majority of the people that I'm describing as tourists do not look like vagabonds to you.
That is also fair.
It looks like people who, some of them look like they're escaping from a bad situation, you know, one of the issues with the nearby clearing. There are a few who are just like, oh, this might be the only time in my life I get to visit the Vatican. The Bird Vatican.
The Bird Vatican?
I might want to try that. And there are some who are, you know, merchants who are clearly just staying in town for a few days to hawk their wares, grab some Ironclaw specific merch and leave. So,
all right.
What would you like to do?
Probably see, assuming we're going to be staying for at least a few days, probably want to see about accommodations, whether we have to set up camp or find an inn. I would prefer an inn because that would give us a good concentration of people to talk to.
Yeah. Thank you, Digo, for that amazing pun. Let's go see let's go ask a cardinal to see the bird pope. That's so very good. There are two inns in Mosswort. One of them is much larger and much fancier than the other one. It is also the most full. It is from the outside. You can see that it reads brain lost the word. The Merchant's Wheel, and it's clearly based on like some merchant moved into Mosswort and just converted their cart like initially from a small inn to a large one. You can see the original wheel hanging from the door, and it's clearly a place where merchants have decided to stay because that's how that works. The other one appears to be more of a bed and breakfast style. It's much cozier. It's just someone converted a home into an inn to help weary travelers. And it's not as full, but it's clear that the people staying there are definitely much worse for wear for a variety of reasons.
Any preferences?
The smaller one.
I want to go to the smaller one because despite that being our half lie to get in, I'm still appreciating the word of the lovely, beloved dragons.
I mean, it fits with our cover, so yeah, we'll go with the smaller inn.
All right, works for me. You enter, and it is as I said, a sort of cozy home that has been converted into an inn rather than a building designed for it. You enter, and it's a lovely, cozy little foyer. You can smell bread cooking in the back. There's the warmth of a fireplace somewhere nearby. And there are off to the sides of the entryway, you can see there are two sort of makeshift walls that appear to be where the first two rooms are. And you can hear the sounds of someone moving on the left side, but the right side seems to be empty. And you can see there's a set of staircase. There's a staircase in the back that leads up to presumably more rooms. There's not really a counter, but when you enter, there's a bell that rings, and you can hear from the back a voice going, "Oh, just head to the back. I'm making a meal for some of our guests. Are you here to stay or just to visit?"
Here to stay, if for a few days, if possible. Party of 5.
Oh, and a rather old-looking rabbit steps out from the kitchen area and goes, "Oh, a party of 5. Well, it's been a while since I've had that many guests. All one room, or were you planning to split up?"
I look to the rest of the group.
One room sounds cheaper. And we could, be together in case something happens.
Yes, if you've got one room, we've been camping on the road for a while anyway, so...
You're not the one... you weren't caught up in that nasty business at Moonglow Clearing, were you?
I'm afraid we were, actually.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. And he approaches he approaches rather quickly and just sort of gives you a hug and says, "Well, don't worry. The first night's on the house while you get yourselves back together. I think the only room that'll be large enough for all of you will be the master bedroom. So allow me just a few moments. I'm going to go move my things."
Oh, that's very generous of you.
He smiles and says, "Well, it's just that the other rooms would be might bit cramped with all 5 of you, I think. This house wasn't really designed for a lot of people, just one rabbit family, and, well, everyone's moved up." So he goes upstairs. You hear him sort of quickly packing things into a trunk and dragging a rather heavy wooden trunk down the hallway, just too big for him to lift. It's just scraping along the floor.
Brixie,
and
you want to help with that?
Yeah.
You hear from the room to the left where you heard someone staying of just this sort of hoarse voice going, "Come on, Frank! You know I'm trying to sleep off a hangover here." And the rabbit sort of, before Brixie can get up there, is just like, "Sorry about that. Benedict, just, I'll try to be quieter." And you hear short, not that quiet scrapes as he's trying to still do the task before Brixie can assist.
Of course.
So yes, Brixie, he sort of guides you to one of the smaller rooms that has a fold-out cot on it that he will be staying in for the night, and directs you to the master bedroom. There's only one bed, but he lets you know that he'll put out some more cots for you all, so you can have something to actually sleep on rather than the floor.
All right. Much
Yay.
appreciated.
So Frank will get back to his baking, and the door to the left of the door to the left of the group will open as you see a rather mangy-looking Maine Coon cat yawn widely and go, "And who are all of you?"
I tilt my head at Siva. Look, I'm not doing the preaching thing.
Oh, the regrets I have at this moment. Anyway.
Where's Dream's greetings up to you, good sir? We pardon for waking you from your slumber.
Upon hearing the first two words out of your mouth, the large, mangy-looking cat just gently places a claw to your beak and goes, "Don't."
Little too high pitched with the hangover, huh?
There's that. You can see him sort of like rubbing his temples, and he goes, "I don't really have the patience for cult members these days. Been a bit busy with my own stuff."
Understandable, sir.
So, save the preaching for someone who cares, please. Frank, do you have any water? You hear, unfortunately, you'll need to pump it from the well. And the cat just sort of sighs drearily, slams the door shut, and goes back to sleep. So,
Interesting neighbor.
yes. He's, he looks like he's been staying there for a while. He is he's obviously not related to the situation with regards to the Moonglow clearing. He also definitely doesn't look like he lives in this town, or at least like he was, born and raised here or anything like that.
Interesting.
Nope, he's just drunk here.
Might have a talk with him later, but for now, let's unpack our stuff.
Yeah. So
Yay.
it's easy enough to unpack. The room is big enough for all of you. It's still a little cramped, but it's better than any of the individual bedrooms that you could have ended up staying in. There's only one other guest at the inn, but they appear to be out. Frank informs you they're currently dealing with a shift in the guards. They're apparently somewhat interested in offering their services to help maintain the weaponry of the Ironclaw.
I was about to say, is it the newbie?
Is it the what?
The newbie.
Oh, it's not the newbie, no.
I'm guessing a vagabond mercenary who wants to offer their services.
Yeah.
Potentially.
So as
Someone we may want to talk with at some point.
As we start with the door firmly shut and all of us unpacking, I say, all right, we have a lot of potential targets, but probably only so much time to prioritize. So we should probably come to a decision on what we want to do here with our limited time.
Eat bread.
Sounds like a plan. Good meeting, everybody.
Point, I want to get to the back of this clearing to make my way to the central tree, because I've got business there, which may take me about a day, so I should head off no later than day 4.
You're not gonna be allowed there without our help, is the thing. So whatever we do here, it needs to take all of us, is what I'm trying to say. So we need to all agree on what our goals are, so we can knock them down one by one.
All right, I'm just saying that's my goal.
That's fair.
Exactly what I told the guards we were here to do.
That's lovely, Siva.
I know it is, right?
And I'm sure
Still,
that
the-
I'm sure that you might be interested in some of the, if they have any like knowledge in their library, their secret libraries about the worms and whatnot, right?
Yes. I would love to look into their stores to see if they have anything.
All right. I'm sure some of you are in this for money. We should try and see if we can get into the vault. Me personally, I would like to, I guess, weaken the Erie's position here and make it so at least at some point in the future, the denizens can take it over and redistribute some of all the wealth here. But that's not something we're going to accomplish in 5 days, but we might be able to make a dent in it.
If I can get to the main tree, I can make that dent for you.
Noted. But this,
Does the dent involve explosives?
as soon as we blow up part of this place, getting out of here is going to be 100 times more difficult. So we should probably secure an exit strategy before we embark on that.
Agreed.
I
Going
would
up the
also
tree, wait
request,
till the
if
end.
you are very insistent on setting explosives, that you do not sully the name of my order, since it is my order that got you in here.
I have no intention of sullying your order. I have no intention of letting them know exactly who set the explosives.
Yeah, ideally no one knows it's us doing this. And if anyone finds out that it's us about to do this, we're going to have the entire clearing hunting us down. And they've got this place locked down so tight that if they start looking for us, they're going to find us. So,
And
stealth and subterfuge.
Just in case it comes up, who of us can swim?
Yuki raises her paw.
Flaps arm wings. What do you want from me?
Some birds can swim.
I don't think Kestrel can swim.
I've tried to avoid swimming. Mint has...
Vost has a wing up. It's just, okay, so two of us can swim. Then a watery exit is probably not a good plan.
I would generally recommend not trying to leave by Lake Ela.
Are there snakes? There's probably snakes.
Yes.
Or fish.
Snakes.
A word for them.
Alligators.
It's a bit too cold for gators, I think.
Would kraken be a closer word?
It might be.
Ah,
want me
Depends
to
on who
take a
you
crack
ask,
at
I
it?
guess.
Let's take a crack at it.
Depends on which clearing you ask. I think most of them will probably say something along the lines of, don't get in that lake, it's freaking cold, you'll just die.
Yeah. So,
It's like,
anyway, getting a little bit back on track, we know that there's some interfactional things going on in this domain. So let's try and figure out what those factions are and what they're going for, and one of them might give us a lead on some of these resources if we help them out, perhaps. I think that's our easiest option, because if there's someone high up who has a beef with someone else in this town who can give us what we want in exchange for something they want, I think that's our easiest way in and out. So let's try and make some
Yuki.
allies.
Yuki nods and says, I agree with Mint Tono.
Oh, goodness. I am not going to get used to that. But thank you. In the meantime, let's lay low for perhaps the rest of the day, get to know our neighbors, and see what we can learn here in this first clearing. All right. Any other questions?
And I know just the place to start.
Sounds like a plan.
Smash
Vost.
cut 2.
Yeah. Smash cut 2. What are you talking about, Vost?
Smash cut to the well outside. Vost and anyone who wants to come with is
Don't
drawing.
poison the well!
No, drawing the water because the innkeeper said he needed water drawn. Volunteer to draw the water, and as such, be outside in perfect position to look around the entire clearing and see who's doing what and if there are any important people around. Yeah, we could just be standing around completely insuspiciously. We're drawing water.
That is a verifiable fact.
Yep. I mean, we're not. I don't know how much if we're going to be able to see the whole clearing. It's kind of busy.
It's a
around
start.
Here.
Yeah. It is a start.
You're kind of making it sound more than it is, but yes, it's a good idea. So let's do it. Let's draw some water from the well for our neighbor upstairs.
Our
All right.
feline companion.
Mm-hmm. So here is what you see as you are drawing the water from the well and having a conversation to sort of keep from looking too suspicious, I suppose.
Just having a casual conversation, nothing suspicious here. No surveillance going on.
So you see there are the merchants that appear to be visiting definitely seem to be sort of running in a little bit of a group just because, simpler to, like, they've met each other in the past, they're some of them are friends, and even those who aren't exactly friendly are, would rather be around other merchants than maybe the guards.
Yeah.
Especially given the situation that happened this morning.
Yep.
You see briefly for a little bit there is a fox who disappears briefly out of sight as she goes down to the remnants of the Mosswort River and comes back carrying a very large lump of clay. She appears to be heading towards the bakery, it seems. You see you see there is a mouse who looks extremely distressed because she keeps running into guards while looking for the places she's supposed to go. She appears to be a male mouse for the not for the town itself, but like from outside, and she's very unsure of where to go. She generally looks like she's having a really bad time, and you see her like muttering under her breath and like nearly throwing down her mailbag at a certain point. You recognize a someone who is clearly part of the Erie military, or at least was, who does not appear to be associated with the town guard. But he is sitting on a stump, and he appears to be just like regaling some of the town's children with tales of history or something. It's kind of hard to get a good listen from where you are at currently. And I'm gonna roll something. Just because I want to determine it's not a like a good or bad thing. I want to determine whether or not this happens now or later.
Dumb luck roll.
Yeah, basically a dumb luck roll. Yeah, you know what? So one of you notices there appears to be a small section of the ground near the well, in fact, that's moving. It's very brief, and it's not like it's not like a wave riding the dirt or whatever. It's just there's a brief moment where you see like a small trail of grass like sort of collapse as though what was underneath it was hollowed out. Very brief though.
Are there secret tunnels under the clearing?
There are. And the
Brixie,
question is, do we want to dig to them or get to them quickly?
probably don't want to be digging right in the middle of the clearing.
Hmm.
And whoever has
Aside-
passed through is probably on their way out by now, but I don't know if we want to spook them, though.
Aside from that, a lot of the people appear to be just sort of admiring the town or trying to persuade the guards to maybe just let them get by for a little bit. They'll totally just take an escort. They just want to see the rest of the clearings.
Yeah.
To little avail. You see, there actually appear to be factions of guards. Not all of them that are cycling through Mosswort appear to be on the friendliest of terms, and are butting heads as shift changes occur, or like visibly squabbling with each other as they man their posts.
So the guards themselves aren't getting along.
Which means probably higher up officers aren't getting along and the guards are picking sides.
Now, how do we get talking to the higher ups?
That's going to be a very
We
good
get
question.
bread and then we give them to everyone and say, get along.
Anything else we see?
The bakery appears to be a very popular spot for those coming into and leaving town. Is the only other thing of note. And it appears that it has somewhat become a focal point for the merchants.
Bread.
Bread?
Bread.
Red.
Bread.
I have an idea for who I want to go to. Anyone else? Do we want to split up and look at some of these targets?
Vost will come with you for security.
I mean, I have something that I can do if I spend time talking to locals, which I've kind of been staring at for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, there are tons of locals to talk to.
Yeah. I want to talk to that older-looking eerie officer who's just telling stories.
Okay. So that's you and Vost. Sounded like you wanted to talk with locals, Siva?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. Yuki, Brixie, what would you like to do?
I was thinking that maybe she might want to go and help out that male mouse, because it would give her a chance to take a look through the city as they find whoever they're looking for.
Okay. Brixie?
I think I'll follow that weird spot in the ground. See if maybe
Okay.
there are hidden tunnels.
All right. Splitting the party right off the bat. I love this.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we can do more damage this way.
That's what you do in a town. You split up and gain reconnaissance as quickly as possible.
Oh, I know. I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying this. It means I get to. It means I get to do all my NPC stuff.
Yay!
Yay!
There's only 4 ways and not all 5.
Alrighty. I will start with the Eerie leader, so Vost and Mint.
All right.
You approach an older-looking crane who is, as I said, decked out in sort of military finery. It's not like it's not a combat uniform in any sense. It's a very much a presentation sort of uniform. And he has a book that he is reading to these children from. And as you approach, you can hear it is. It's not actually a book of military conquests. It sounds like a book on the history of this city. It appears to be he's talking about the origin of the Ironclaw according to the Eyrie. And you hear that the Ironclaw was the first city that the birds ever lived on. It was their ancestral home, and the fact that the birds have wings is due to their many attempts to escape it. Because the Ironclaw was so inhospitable back when it was untamed. And it was one mighty eagle, Volucria, who managed to tame the wilderness, tame the sky, the sea, and the earth itself, and form the first kingdom of the Eyrie. And a lot of the children look impressed, especially the bird children. The woodland folk children are also impressed, but they're asking questions like, what about the mice? What about the rabbits? What about the foxes?
Yeah.
And he's dutifully answering them, but it's pretty clear that he's kind of making it up on the spot. Because he's an old Eyrie man and he only knows his own legends.
Yep.
And but after a few minutes, the crane notices the two of you and says, well, children, that's all for today. But I will be back here tomorrow if you want to hear more stories, all right? And the kids all run off to, go play and whatnot. And the crane stands to his fullest. He's still a bit hunched over just due to his age. But he approaches the two of you and says, I recognize outsiders when I see them. So what can I help you gentlemen with?
You seem like you know this area well. Were you born and raised here? You seem well traveled.
No, I was not born here. I was born far, far to the south of here, but I trained here back in my early days in the military. Back before. And he sort of gestures to the general air. All that mess with the Marquisate.
Mm-hmm.
Not really much for war and conquest these days, so much more interested in making sure the next generation grows up with the kinder stories.
That's very honorable of you.
Does a sweeping bow and kneels and we thank you for your service, honored elder.
Sort of looks extremely uncomfortable at you doing that, actually.
I pat Vost to get him back up.
Vost does stand up.
I see you're not really one to stand on ceremony.
No. The only reason I'm wearing this old thing is because I was hoping it would help me get a meeting with my old friend, but alas, it's proven unfruitful for me.
Your old friend?
Yes. My old consul lives one clearing over in Spine Rock. When she retired, she decided to grow cabbages here for some reason. But I'm hoping that I can convince her to help stop whatever problems are happening here from bleeding over into outright war.
Wanting to... Yeah, I noticed a bit of that. There's some sort of friction between even between groups of guards here.
Yes, it's a bit hard not to notice, isn't it?
I mean, it's not like they make it terribly secret.
Yes, well, the senator or former senator here, I don't know what her position will be right now, has gotten into a dispute with the current consul, and it's broken apart the military here.
Oh, a political dispute, and the military is also split. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you happen to know the nature of this dispute?
I have not gotten the full confirmation yet. I only came here once I heard that soldiers from here were going to fight with the Marquisate. That terrible incident in Moonglow. I just am worried that the military of the Ironclaw is perhaps not as prepared for the black powder weapons as those who have been fighting more continuously.
Hmm.
Indeed, they were not.
And Mint quietly thinks to himself, yeah, if the Marquisat come here, even if the Eerie lose, it's not going to end well for the denizens regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So, just destabilizing the Eerie here with the Marquisat potentially marching up is not the ideal situation, the ideal end to this situation.
No, it is not. Ironclaw is fairly defensible, but even then, there would definitely be some disastrous effects, especially since Mosswort is still accessible.
Yeah.
If we had some expertise in dealing with these black powder weapons, who would be the appropriate person to take this expertise to disseminate the knowledge? Train to trainers, as it were.
Well, if you want who's currently in charge, you'll need to find a way to get into Windbrisk and meet with Praetor Claudius. Oh, he's not Praetor yet, is he? Claudius Codex. He is the current leader of the military here. But not the one I'm personally seeking.
And,
he takes a moment and then actually goes, "Oh, where are my manners? I do apologize. I should have introduced myself. My name is Ichabod," and he sort of actually extends a hand to shake. Or
God damn it, Din.
I don't get it.
You should see
Ichabod Crane.
The crane.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
I got it.
Yep.
I take his hand and shake it. Brother Alvin of the Worm Dreamers.
He sort of pauses at that and goes, "Oh, I didn't expect to find any Worm Dreamers out here. Fascinating."
I'll admit I'm not the main preacher of our little band, but I handled some of the logistical aspects of our journey.
More of a bodyguard than a believer, eh?
Well, I leave that to the actual bodyguards, but I can handle myself.
He nods understandingly.
More of a manager.
Yes, some of them can be a little overzealous, I've found.
Ours is fine, just very enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Vost?
Vost shakes a hand. Brother Theodore, officially of the Worm Dreamers, with my own agenda as well.
I see. Well,
Mint just restrains the urge to slap his forehead. Vost, as always, no internal filter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate your honesty, we'll say.
That's Vost for you. No, sorry, that's Brother Theodore for you. That's what I say.
For you. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. Ichabod chuckles and then says, provide if there's anything you need assistance with, I might be able to help, but unfortunately it seems like my medals aren't quite as notable as they used to be.
Yeah, that could be interesting. But maybe if we had 2 medals to flash around, and I bring up my own ceremonial Eerie insignia.
Perhaps. If this is so urgent that someone from the Worm Dreamers is coming to speak, then yes, perhaps we could find a way. But you'd want to go to Windbrisk, and my destination is the other direction.
Well, I think that perhaps our goals could be more aligned than we think if we can talk to who you're interested in, because you want to speak to your former consul, was it?
Yes, Consul Achilleas Dentatus. She is famed for her conquest, but I'm hoping that she can be persuaded to take control a little less violently than she used to be. I'm
Could she
hoping
be-
that her years of growing cabbages have mellowed her out.
Could she be persuaded to come here?
Possibly, but I would need to send a message, and it's been difficult to even pass those along.
And yeah, especially with the guards potentially playing favorites with communications.
He nods to that.
I think I'll be honest with you, Ichabod. We have come from Moonglow Clearing, and we would like that not to be repeated here.
He nods at you gravely and says, I understand, and I would like to prevent that as well. I'll do what I can. Sorry, you were going to say something?
I think, well, Brother Theodore's idea of maybe getting a foot in the door with our knowledge of the black powder is valid, I think. Speaking to someone who is more closely connected with the politics of the area and perhaps might offer a better solution than the current one might be worthwhile.
All right. So that sounds like the beginnings of a plan forming.
Yep.
Yep.
Step one,
Alright.
get to this ex-console.
All right.
Who will
So,
probably have plenty of insider information to help us through the rest of it.
possibly.
On the console.
Let's cut to Siva. So you are using your ability to word on the street, correct?
Yes,
Roll finesse.
Two R2D6 plus 2. Hey, that's a 9.
9. Okay. So on a 7 to 9, the dangers make their price steeper. An additional 1 value of coin or gear. On a hit, you catch wind of a nearby unexplored wonder or ruin. Someone promises to take you to it for a fair fee. Okay. So here's what you here is the thing that you hear. You end up after several conversations, you wind up interacting with a mouse named Charlotte. She she greets you kindly, she speaks with you. And you ask her sort of the, history of the clearing, stuff like that. And Charlotte is actually from Spine Rock. She's just visiting to pick up some food from Mosswort and bring it back home. She is a collector of myth and history herself. And she thinks she might know where the vault of Spine Rock is. Just due to the stories she's picked up over her years working as a librarian. However, she is, how to phrase this? She's not exactly dealing well with the whole guard situation right now. And she's worried about what will happen if she's caught trying to assist someone not only move from Mosswort to Spine Rock, but to then go looking for something that the Eerie tries very hard to keep hold of. So what she asks of you is either something to defend herself with or the coin to purchase it. So you can either go find a weapon from either one of your. You can either, if you can get her a weapon basically before tomorrow, she will take you where you want to go.
And that would be like
Something value 2.
Okay.
On the one hand, violence. On the other, information, fortune, mythology, lore.
Mm-hmm. She will also be more than happy to trade stories with you.
Yes.
I was going to say, unlike Ichabod, she actually has the myths of the fox folk, the mouse folk, the rabbit folk, and all of that. And each has their own sort of variation on how the different groups came to be. The Eerie are villains in a lot of them.
Gee, I wonder why.
But not all of them. The fox folk in particular seem to have a sort of strong history with the Eerie. But there's still several where, each group is an enemy of the other and so on and so forth.
Siva would be taking down information she finds like personally prevalent or into the mighty book.
Into the mighty book.
And then also showing her the mighty book.
Understandable.
In all
she
caps,
does.
exclamation point.
Exactly.
It is in all caps on my sheet. It is in all caps. I specifically did it.
Yep. And I specifically copied it. She will also ask, if she has time and if you're comfortable with it, she'd like to make a copy of the book in a sense, although it's definitely going to be a multi-day project.
I mean, copying the book is copying the information, which is stuff we want to be. We would want to just go out because of all the good things about the dragons, and people be more interested in them, and then maybe they'll all work together and be kind to each other and unify, and then they'll awaken and everyone will be happy. Dramatically falls onto a couch.
She does, upon the sort of revelation that you are a member of the lizard cult, the Worm Dreamers, she will say that it's extremely fortuitous that Spine Rock would be the sort of place you would love to visit, because it is carved in the shape of a dragon.
I thought I actually had to go up in the text. I'm pretty sure that was the one image you showed. That was like, I want to go there. I think it's exactly that.
Yep. And she regales you with a myth of basically they don't have a myth about a dragon being there, but they have a myth about a mighty beast living in Spine Rock that supposedly had its own great horde, and each the fox folk thought they could handle it with might and failed. The mouse folk thought they could handle it with stealth and failed. The rabbit folk thought they could handle it with speed and failed. But their combined efforts allowed them to slay the beast and claim its horde for themselves, for the all people rather than just one people. And the they sort of carved spine rock in the shape of a beast in order to represent that, supposedly. It's also entirely possible that it just sort of eroded that way.
Listen, science has no place here.
I mean, you're a talking bird, so
Science has no place here.
yeah. All right. With that, you now have a quest of you need to get her some form of weapon or the coin to do it. Let's cut to Yuki. Yuki, you don't run into the mouse. The mouse runs into you. She takes a step forward, immediately turns, and just sort of collides into your chest and falls over, and you hear her just go, "God damn it!"
She'll reach down to help her up and say, my apologies. I seem to have gotten in your way.
She accepts the hand up and says, "No, it's not you. I'm sorry. I'm really far from home, and this trip has sucked, and I don't like this town, and everybody's been so rude, and I don't know where any of their freaking mailboxes are."
I'm new here too. You're trying to deliver these parcels. What if everyone's being rude? Why don't I go with you and just I'll get a chance to look around the town, and hopefully we can find everyone you're looking for. Just as a payback for getting in your way just now and knocking you over.
She sort of looks at you quizzically and says, "Well, I don't think you really need to pay me back for that. That was mostly an accident, and that was mostly my fault. But I would really appreciate someone who looks way stronger than me doing it, being around to sort of convince the guards that I'm worth listening to." And she sort of glares at a guard who is passing by before turning back to you and saying, "Yeah, sure. I guess we can explore this place together." The mouse introduces herself as Frida. And she, as you sort of walk with her, you hear her expressing in intricate detail all of the various bad things that have happened to her on her way here and while she has been here. And it's definitely seemed like she's run into a lot of bad luck. She wasn't caught up in the battle at Moonglow, but she did get caught up in that hurricane, and it resulted in a lot of mail that has been partially ruined, and she's had to take the brunt of delivering that. And the town, the layout of Mosswort is confusing to her in a way that is off kilter. And one consistent topic that keeps coming back is that Frida consistently says she doesn't like the Marquisate, hates the Marquisate, thinks cats are awful, doesn't want to be near them, really wishes they still build trains everywhere because it would make her job so much easier. She just really wants those trains. She saw the plans for a train, for trains at a Marquisate meeting once, and it has just been on her mind forever since then, because boy, would trains make everything easier. So much less cart pulling and dealing with mail bags and just the exhaustive physical effort. Just really, really wants trains. So it's something that she just keeps bringing up. But yeah, she explores the sort of remainder of Mosswort with you, and you pick up that a lot of mail passes through the bakery because that's where a lot of the people who are staying temporarily visit. And the owner of that bakery, Mana, has basically had all mail going to merchants forwarded to her. It's something she's set up with the merchants in advance, but it's still confusing because all of the letters are addressed to someone else, even if they have sort of the same final address they're going to. And the bakery is rather nice when you stop by there. It is extremely cozy, smells a lot of fruit. It appears that they do a lot of preserving here, of like making jams and whatnot. And you see that among the other things she has, that the bakery has, is there are quote unquote vagabond meal packs that she has set aside on the like far edge of the like entrance, and it appears that she has just made travel meals for people to like pick up and take with them, just because it's good for business to have free samples.
Oh, they're free?
They're free.
That is a bakery that is getting stuff done.
Oh yeah.
40.
Well,
Get 40.
well, she takes 2 of them and hands one to the mouse, to Frida, and she goes, "I believe these cost no coin." She seems kind of puzzled about it, but
Frida like looks at the sign, looks at the pack, and says, "Hey, I won't say no to a free meal." And you actually see a sort of middle-aged looking mouse approach the counter upon your asking of that question, and she says, "Well, of course, all of the people who travel through Mossward ought to have some mana. The name's Mana, by the way. I own this little establishment, and you'll see in there is the specialty flatbread I've made. Lasts for a long time, great for traveling with, and goes well with fruit." And when you open up any of the, as Frida opens up the bag, you can see it's a humble meal. It is mostly like bread and some dried fruit and a very small jar of jam, but there's this sort of big flatbread that is available for eating, and it tastes pretty dang good. It's very much like naan.
well, I thank you for this. I have a question. It looks like a lot of people come through here. You're very popular. We're trying to deliver a lot of the mail. We were wondering if you'd be able to help us figure out who most of these go to. They aren't really addressed anywhere but here.
Mana will nod and say, "Oh yes, that's right. Well, all of the merchants who swing by here like to use me as a sort of mailbox to go. They'll come here, pick up some food, drop off some of the stuff I need, and take their mail with them because it's easier to have a place for the mail to all go when they're all traveling all the time. So I serve as a little bit of a mailbox. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to help you figure out where all this stuff goes."
Eerie, have not figured out post offices.
Well, the post offices are all woodfolk creation. It's like, the Better Borough Bank is woodfolk, not Erie.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. Plus, again, Ironclaw is kind of a unique location.
That is also true.
But she will take the mail from Frida, who is just loudly scarfing down the food. It appears that when she's stressed, she eats.
Mood.
And yeah, mood, definitely. And she's had a stressful day, and she is just having none of it. So she just wants to. She's going to town on that bread. Mana quickly sort of goes through the stack of letters and sets aside a good chunk of them for people that she's clearly familiar with. And in fact, as she's going through it, you hear her just go, "Oleander, package for you!" Just yelling to one of the merchants who sort of is shocked by the yelling and sheepishly approaches. But she goes through and then says, so here's the stuff you can deliver here. And she hands Frida the remaining letters from Mosswort and sort of says where they need to go. But then points to 2 letters that are still sitting on her counter and goes, and I don't know how exactly you're going to get it there, but this one goes to Shelldock. There's a woodpecker fella over there who is looking for this, I suppose. And this one, she picks up the other one, which is much fancier than the other letters, and it's embossed with an eerie, like the eerie symbol, and it's the sort of wax seal on it is solid gold, at least golden colored. And she says, "This one goes to Publia, and I'm not sure how you're gonna do that, but good luck."
And who is Publia?
Publia. Oh, Publia Volcaire. She's the senator for the region, or at least she was until she started screwing things up. Of course, I don't know that she'd be much better than any of her replacements, or any worse. So, this whole political situation is just a drag. It's bad for business and really ruins the mood. Frankly, I just kind of wish everyone would shut up and let things get back to normal. But, oh well, what can you do?
So, I suppose that takes a larger burden off of you. She looks at Frida. If I may ask one more thing, since so many people pass through here, have you seen Rabbit pass by, well, any time in the past few months? She might have been wearing clothing a lot like what I'm wearing, although, well, who's to know if it's fancier, if she's worn anything else, but or anything that would have this seal. And she'll take her katana and pull the blade from the sheath just a few inches to show like a metal seal on the edge of the blade.
Let's see. What would be I feel like this deserves a roll of some kind.
Trust fate.
Yeah, this feels like a trust fate kind of situation.
Okay. I have a -1.
I mean, given your backstory, you are pretty unlucky.
Yes, I am. Okay, let's see here. Dice. 2d6 -1.
That's a 5. So here is she unfortunately says, no, a lot of rabbits pass through here, but unfortunately none I've seen with that symbol or who look like you in any capacity. Of course, I'm usually in the back, so I can't really say for sure whether or not she has passed through. Sorry.
Oh, no, it is fine. Thank you for just allowing me to ask. Let's see. So, we have 2 letters that look like they'll be harder to deliver. Hmm, where are you staying, Frida? Are you still going to be in town, or do you have other things you need to deliver across other clearings?
Frida takes a moment to sort of like scratch her head and look at the letters and say, well, the guards have been pretty unhappy about me moving about at all, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to deliver these, and I don't really, but I also can't let the guards take them, so I don't know. Can't just send them back. This one, she looks at the one that is addressed to Publi and goes, this one doesn't feel like it should leave my sight. And she sort of puts both in a like smaller compartment on her bag. I gotta deliver these though.
Well, I suppose I can try to go with you and see if I can help you get through, at least on your way to delivering that important seeming letter.
Well, that one definitely needs to go. So, and I think, uh, sorry, I forgot to say that Mana like told where those 2 clearings were. The first one goes to Shelldock, and the one addressed to Publia goes to Howltooth. And so Frida like thinks and says, "Well, Howltooth is 2 clearings away, so I think I can get it there if I rush. And maybe now that I know this is important, they'll let me through. I would appreciate the help, though. Plus, maybe someone over on that clearing is a little more likely to help me get this one passed along. But I should definitely get the rest of these settled first. As far as where I'm staying, I wasn't planning on staying, but this is going to take longer than I thought, so I guess I'm looking for a place to sleep tonight.
Well, it's rather crowded, but we are staying at a small house. It was about where I met you. There was a well.
Oh, I think I know what place you're talking about. Yeah, okay. So they have room?
I'm sure they can make room. Like I said, it's a little crowded. There's
Well, we took the
5 of us
master, and
here.
it was a house for a large rabbit family, so I think they've got some more room.
Yeah, I said that like the room, like the entryway had an empty room to the right, so
Okay.
yeah.
It's a little crowded, but I think there's still some room left.
Okay.
If no one's arrived since we've been on our journey.
And it won't be too much trouble for you to help me get this delivered tomorrow, maybe?
I think I can spare that much time to help you.
Okay, well, if you could, I would really, really appreciate that. And I don't really have much I can pay you with, but I'll find a way to do something.
Well, if you ever see the rabbit I was talking about, could you just tell her that I've been looking for her?
She will nod and say, "I've got a pretty good memory, so I think I should I think I'll be able to know if I meet anyone like that." So, and she actually takes a moment and sort of grabs a blank piece of parchment from her satchel and just writes down the symbol she saw on your sword and says, "It's like this, right?" And it seems to be a perfect replica, despite only having seen it briefly for a moment.
That's it. That's a very good memory. You're able to remember things quite clearly.
That's why I ended up working at the post office. When I know an address, I can remember it really well, but until I find it, I get lost. Anyways, I think I can probably handle myself for a little while delivering these last ones. So, thanks, and I guess I'll see you tonight. She sort of shrugs.
She nods. Yes, I'll see you later. I believe I need to go and find the rest of my traveling party.
Alrighty. And let's cut to Brixie.
Okay.
Brixie, you have been following roughly the direction you saw the dirt collapsing.
Mhm.
It disappears every couple of minutes, and then you see like another little bit heading off in a slightly different direction. It's angled, but it's all heading away from the center of town and towards the sort of woods on the outskirts. Not the actual path, but the woods itself.
Interesting. I'd have to leave the town to keep following, correct?
It doesn't quite actually enter the woods itself. It's heading in that direction.
Can I get ahead of it?
Yeah, pretty easily. It's not moving very fast.
Okay. I will get ahead of it. Guess where it will pass under me, and take my hammer and just drive it into the ground.
Okay. You
That's a
do
fun
that.
Hello.
You do that, and you hear underneath the ground. Hold on, let me just back away for a moment.
Goodness.
And then you hear I mean, who dares do this to Fidelite y Sforza?
I dare do this.
And there's a pause, and then and who is I?
You is that name you said, Frederita Soup of something or other.
Fidelite y Sforza. And just in front of your hammer, you see the ground clear away just a little bit, and you see two beady black eyes under the dirt, still mostly concealed, but there is clearly a small figure down there.
Hi. Why are you walking under the ground?
Because that is my birthright.
You were born down there?
Of course. All moles are born under the earth.
Oh, you're a mole.
So Brixie. I would like you to figure someone out real fast. And this is less about the specific. Well, okay, actually, sorry. I am going to roll something instead.
Okay.
I should roll this one because it's not actually a move on your end. It's just a like. All right. You have not heard of the Underground Duchy. Just this is not a thing you're aware of. Moles might as well be a mythical species to you.
Ooh. Like spies and saboteurs.
Yes. They the Underground Duchy is incredibly secretive and basically has only been spoken of in rumors since the last, I don't know, 30 years. So yes, Fidelite y Sforza is staring at you, and expecting some kind of reaction. That is not happening.
Yeah, so okay, I guess it's not illegal to walk under the ground. I just find it a little different.
Surface dwellers. Look, you seem like the type who does more thinking with fists than with face. Do you know who is in charge around here?
Not particularly, no.
Ugh, useless. Very well, I will allow you to grace yourself with my presence. And the face sort of disappears, and a larger hole opens up. It is just barely big enough for you to get into if you would like.
Sure.
Brixie meets the mole people.
Mole person, singular. You enter and you see it is a surprisingly complex network of tunnels underneath, but it's also an incredibly small network of tunnels because it's very clear that it's just this one mole doing it. If the Eerie have not built any kind of secret tunnels around the Ironclaw because they're birds, they can just fly.
I like an eagle.
But you notice that this particular mole is actually rather small, and you get the distinct sense that this is a teenager at best. But the clothing he's wearing is extremely regal. It looks like the dirt doesn't even sort of stick to it. It's just incredibly fancy silks and golden patterns, and it's extremely ostentatious.
Shiny.
Yes, he is a very shiny boy. And he says, congratulations, miss. You will be the first person to have spoken with a member of the Duchy of Molan in quite some time.
Oh, I'm honored.
And you may fulfill that honor by paying me back by serving as my bodyguard as I deal with this horrid situation.
What horrid situation?
All of this above ground people who are fighting over what is rightfully mine.
Oh, good.
So, you've been deposed from your lands, have you?
What? No, the whole duchy. Every member of the duchy owns all of the above ground. It's just that they don't know it yet.
Oh. Well, I guess that would be why they wouldn't have given it back. They don't know that you own it, that they would give it to you.
Well, they walk all over we serve underneath, and we build these structures that support the entire planet. Of course it is ours.
Oh. I think that makes sense.
It
Says
doesn't,
Brixie.
but sometimes. So Brixie, what I'm going to tell you is that you get the sense that this mole, despite his sort of like confidence and ego, is maybe very much not used to being alone. Much more used to having like servants and bodyguards and such, and he's sort of playing it off as though he's extremely comfortable when he's very much not. You can see him sort of shifting around. The fact that he immediately assigned you to be his bodyguard and just sort of isn't taking no for an answer. Signor Sforza, as he demands you call him, says, very well, my servant. Well, I need you to find out who is in charge of these lands so that I may speak with them and inform them that they are wrong.
Okay. I think I could do that.
And when you have determined where the throne is, please point me to it so that I may sit upon it and rule my peoples. And then bring my own peoples up here so that they may enjoy the land itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you walked on the surface rather than dig tunnels, more people would get to know you.
Surface dwellers do not understand the majesty of dirt.
Well, I guess not.
You okay?
Something about the combination of that accent and the majesty of dirt. The inflection on that just killed me.
I'm extremely happy that I finally got to introduce the duchy, who I've based on Borgia, Italy.
Oh, good.
Hence the Duchy of Milan.
Yes.
So, hey, it's only appropriate that someone that an Italian ends up in Bird Vatican.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. That is on the beak.
It sure is. Signor Sforza basically informs you that until his throne is settled, he does not want to walk upon the surface. You get the distinct feeling that you could also very easily bribe him to go home if you got him an appropriate souvenir. He seems like he might be able to be convinced to just go.
I don't know what I would have or could acquire really quickly to bribe him with.
It doesn't have to be quickly. I mean, as far as he's concerned, you're in his service until he goes home or owns Ironclaw.
Well, at the very least, I could look around and see who's in charge.
Very good, my bodyguard. And I need you to report to me every night here, as it is the soil over in the other clearings is far too hard to dig through.
Okay.
At least not with this manicure.
Good point. Okay. Then I am on a quest.
You are on a quest. You have been signed up by a noble of the Duchy of Milan. Congratulations.
Yay. I'm going to slap the top of that tunnel and say, you can hide a lot of explosives in here. I'm sure I can tell Vost that.
You sure can. All right. And I guess that's about the time for everyone to meet up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Everyone, after your little misadventures, meets back up at the inn, I presume?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. It's been a fairly eventful day already. I'm going to say it's approaching evening time. So you pass along your information, and then what do you do?
First of all, reckon with the fact that we've all got... Well, first of all, reckon with Brixie's claim that she met a mole prince. Like,
yes,
of the legendary moles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw the dirt move, so... I mean, what else could it have been but a mole, but still.
I mean, it's that or the underground tunnels of the birds.
Yeah.
His accent was very convincing.
The underground tunnels in the ground sky.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like the Erie to have secret underground tunnels.
But there's still secret underground tunnels.
Yeah, which might be useful in a number of ways, having a mole on our side, but this mole seems like really out of their depth and is probably going to get themselves killed.
Out of their depths.
Looks out of their depths.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I know what I said, thank you.
So the mole wouldn't want to dig to the other clearings. Would he be able to dig partway to the other clearings, like enough to get us past the guards and onto the pass?
Yeah, but then we'd have to deal with the guards on the other side.
There'd be a lot less guards.
Yeah, it'd be one less checkpoint, but we'd still have to have a plan to get through the checkpoint. More importantly, it seems like we've all got leads that go in completely different directions.
True.
So I am, and a lot of them seem worthwhile, I'm not gonna lie. Having a male mouse, to get to the senator, the sitting senator, or ex-senator, or whatever, seems pretty good. That seems like a good in. Having someone, we have a potential connection to an ex-consul who might be a useful resource. And oh goodness, what was the other one?
So you have Ichabod, who wants to meet with former consul Achilles. You have Frida, who needs to deliver a letter to Publia Volcaire, the current / ex-senator of the Ironclaw, and also a letter to someone on Shelldock. You have a... my brain has shorted up briefly.
Charlotte.
Charlotte wants to... Charlotte knows some secrets, potentially, about where stuff is hidden in Spine Rock. And
right, yeah, the
wants a
librarian.
weapon. Yep. And then, yeah, so that...
That was the
then,
one I was forgetting.
Signor Sforza wants to meet with whoever is in charge. He doesn't know who, so I guess y'all are making that determination.
They're expecting a throne.
They are expecting a throne.
Well, we don't even know who's in charge right now, right?
Yeah, no one here knows who's in charge right now.
People that you need to go meet for your other things are pretty on either side of that conflict.
For all we know, the moles could just walk in, declare themselves, king, and probably be just as valid as anyone else's claim to power around here.
Take
Fair
over
enough.
the states.
Oh, that'll make it easy.
And also the potentially delivering information about black powder weaponry to Claudius, the current military leader of the Ironclaw. That was.
We
one
may
of the
not
other
know
ones.
who sits on the throne, but we know where the throne is. There is a large, very large central tree fortress, is there not?
Yes, the Watch Tree.
Would that not be where the throne is, or the effective throne for this area?
It's not the seat of political power, no. It's a seat of military power. Which
Bathroom
is
throne.
it blurs the line, like military versus political power blurs the line a lot with the Eyrie, but in this particular case, the Watch Tree was designed more as this is a central vantage point from which we can monitor everything, but it's not where the senator lives or anything along those lines.
And where our peregrine falcons can just dive bomb everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting walking around today with that overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to be inside right now.
Yes, that is definitely something that can alleviate the peace, or alleviate tension for a little bit, is no longer are we being watched by the birds of the Watch Tree.
So,
I don't know, top of the watch tree in some direction.
Heard
you are
none of
cutting.
that.
You are cutting out, Cat.
It sounds like you're underwater.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, knock down the watch tree in some direction. That'd alleviate the peace really quick.
Yeah.
No.
No,
It would alleviate the peace, yes.
by completely removing it.
No, not necessarily a desirable action, but it would accomplish the goal.
No,
No, it
No.
wouldn't.
Yeah,
It would just cause
vehemently
chaos.
denied.
They would take vengeance on anyone and everything. This was
Do
the same.
not.
This was the same problem I had with the people who are going to blow up River Hop. Is that oh boy,
more violence.
more violence will just invite more violence.
No violence. We need unity and and friendship.
Not that I'm
and-
opposed to like the reasonable explosion you're planning, Vost, to stick it to the Eerie and make them feel like a bit less secure in their big tower. But preferably we do that without like making them bring down punishment on all the denizens, and also leaving that open to becoming a military target for the Marquisat, you know.
I'll put it this way: if like it's one thing to like ruin the watch tree, you could easily do that, make it take like months of labor and whatnot. If you like actually blew up the watch tree to make it collapse, it would take half a clearing with it.
Yeah.
Like as it's coming down.
No, please, no.
Yeah,
That might be a
sabotage
bit much.
as opposed to like outright terrorism.
It's already terrorism.
Yeah.
Is going to settle for merely ruining it. Yeah.
All the ideas of explosion I've literally heard are all terrorism.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think there's non-explosive terrorism.
Yeah.
Just keep it, small terrorism. A little bit of terror.
I mean, if you put Altoids in a Pepsi bottle or a Coke bottle, that's technically an explosion. It's not terrorism, as long as you're nowhere near it.
Neighborhood terrorist.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, the point is we want to save the explosion for when we can make the most use of it for our purposes here, and not just blow it up and call it mission
2.
accomplished. Yeah.
Or just not at all.
Right. So it sounds like our challenge is getting out of this clearing to the other clearings without getting arrested.
Yeah, and also deciding like if we're gonna try and go for all of our leads or focus on one or two, because it's going to involve splitting the party more.
So of note, the way that I didn't make a map for this one unlike last time, but the way the clearings are set up is circular. So Spine Rock and Howltooth. Spine Rock is next to both Mosswort and Howltooth. So that's a pretty direct path from one to the other to finish those leads. The only real split would be if you tried to go to Shelldock or Windbrisk, because those are in the opposite direction.
We got
Like,
one lead
it's
in
one
Shelldock.
big circle.
Do we have any leads in Windbrisk, or
Just that's if you wanted to talk with like the military head and black powder stuff, that would be where it happens.
Okay.
Was the only one at Shelldock that other letter? Like,
Correct.
Okay, so that's the only other one. And that one's not seemingly as important as if we get to the... Like,
So
there's a chance that Frida can get to Shelldock on her own afterwards.
we have a group of objectives that are on one path. Is that kind of what... Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And that would be the important letter to the senator, talking to our veteran friend's friend, the librarian?
Yeah, librarian.
And those are all on the same general path.
Correct.
Okay. And hopefully with the tools they have combined with the tools we have, we can get that far.
I believe you could, yes.
All right.
I mean, it's literally just need a value 2 weapon to get into to Spine Rock.
Well,
Spine Rock, yeah.
Yeah, to get the librarian to agree to show us what's valuable in Spine Rock, which definitely having someone who can point us to the vault is good.
Who thinks they can point you to the vault? I can't say that for certain.
Better than nothing, and certainly we're not going to have anyone in the Eerie talk to us right now about that.
I mean, at the bare minimum, it gets us into another clearing at base level. Everything above is like secondary to everyone else. My priorities are highly different.
So the key thing is going to be like making sure we can get everybody through, which I think between the letter and our veterans badge and our own general ability to fast talk, we might be able to pull it off.
I think so.
So I think that might be our plan, is to help out that group of friends. And Although we're not going to be able to report to your mole friend. Unless we can convince them to come up for air.
Seemed like a very shy type.
Yeah. Although I guess there's nothing
to
stopping
walk
us from...
through all 5 clearings if we did go, assuming we can get past the guards.
Well, nothing's stopping us from reporting back on a later night. It'd just be a few nights where you don't show up.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright.
Sounds
Well,
like something of a plan.
Yeah, we've got a few inns, and what we do then kind of depends on what we end up finding at these locations and who we end up talking to. So, reconnaissance further into the clearings is a go. Just need to, guess we gather up all our newfound friends in the morning and go together, I think.
Alrighty. Sounds good to me.
Well, does anyone have a value 2 weapon? Because that's what I need for the librarian. Or we have to get something.
I do,
Because you're probably not getting it back.
Well, no, I have a value 4 weapon. No, you're actually not getting that.
Yeah, I would not assume so.
So yeah, you have to give them the weapon.
Yeah, it's either give them the weapon or get it through depletion from somewhere else, which you might have a bit of trouble finding a weapon in Mosswort.
Yeah.
Can Vost make something?
Theoretically, you can certainly give it a shot.
Okay. This is a weapon. Does it count as a dangerous device?
I would say so, sure.
Oh gosh.
Being a weapon.
Yeah. Okay then, let's try it.
Congratulations, it's a Molotov.
Is that a 4?
That's a 4.
Oh.
So yeah, Vost went into the forest at the edge of the clearing to gather up stuff and try to make something from it.
Please don't say it exploded in your face.
No, it's missing a vital component, and I need to tell how to get it. What you need is some fired clay, or some ability to fire clay, in order to actually seal it. Because there's plenty of clay to go about in Mosswort that could be used to fashion a relatively clean, dagger or some form of ranged weaponry, like combining with a sling. But there's not quite enough, like the raw material needs just something else to finish it, if that makes sense.
So the bakery we've seen would be able to do it. We've seen someone take wet clay in for a presumed use.
Mm-hmm.
What about the kitchen at this inn we're staying? Is the oven there sufficient?
The oven is very small, so the answer is probably not.
You need to go to the
There's a
bakery.
difference between an oven and a kiln.
And we already saw someone taking clay to the general area of the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's already using that area as a kiln, I think.
Okay, so this is evening. Is the bakery locked up?
It does appear to be, yes. There, it seems that Mana lives on the top floor of her bakery, but the bottom floor is definitely locked up tight. That said, there does appear to be smoke coming from the chimney, and it seems like way more than like a standard fireplace would produce.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
No, usually not.
I am
Thankfully
probably
not.
at all.
Okay, yeah, I suppose you would lockpick the door rather than blow it open, and
Yes!
lockpicking is probably a better idea.
Goodness.
Now the question is it worth waking her up? Or do we wait till morning?
Can we not break in? Maybe we could just ask?
Yeah, probably better.
That's
just
what I'm
ask-
wondering is, do
ask
we
in the
ask
morning,
or
yeah.
do we wait for morning and then
She
ask?
seemed pretty cordial and willing to help everyone, so I don't know. maybe not blow something up when we're like new here on our first day. That's usually reserved for the fourth.
Avoiding property damage to the innocent, yeah.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. Firing something in a kiln takes time. So if you get it started tonight, it can definitely be ready by morning. If you start it tomorrow morning, it won't be ready until midday.
And we kind of need the day.
Yeah. So
Maybe
do we try to
knock
get
on
her
her door and
attention
wake her up?
from the ground? Wake her up?
I think this is
How
all you.
late is it?
Unless someone's chaperoning, but... Damn it, I'm chaperoning, aren't I?
Well, that depends. Do you want to get through this with words? Or you want to get through this with fists?
Let's not with fists. I think
All right, then.
we can get through this.
Then words it is.
I came out to follow Vost because someone needs to keep an eye on Vost. And when the subject of, hey, maybe we can blow open the door to the bakery, I said, no, and I just knock on the door.
Trot, 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 trot.
She was coming too?
Yes. Please do not cause damage. Please do not cause harm, please.
All right. So I think the baker's up on that floor. And Vost picks Siva up and holds her up. Hey, you think you can get her attention?
Put me down. Put me down.
Siva is not a boombox.
Do not.
Vost puts Siva down.
Okay. Here is my question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to be seen by anyone else?
Oh, no.
I mean, we're not doing anything bad. We're just out at night trying to wake up someone so we can use a kiln to make something for someone.
Yeah.
We are doing nothing wrong.
But also trying to assemble a weapon and also not wanting the guards to know that we are up late doing things is probably a good idea.
We are innocent.
We are, for now, but
Technically.
guards don't really care if the truth will bear you out. They'll just, have suspicions anyway.
Okay.
So
Here's how I'm gonna say it. It's not gonna be a sneak roll to it's not gonna be a attempt a roguish feat or trust fate to sneak in. But if you are trying to get her attention, you will need to do a sneak. If you're trying to get her attention aside from knocking, is how I'm gonna say it.
And knocking would just be loud, huh?
It'd be loud, but it wouldn't necessarily be suspicious.
No, then we just knock.
Yeah, because it's not suspicious. It's fine.
There are some guards passing by. They don't appear to be paying you much attention right now because you are just visiting. However, it's not Mana who opens the door. It's that fox you saw earlier. And she sort of looks at the lot of you and goes, can I help you?
We could borrow your kiln. We got something that needs firing, and it's kind of a rush job.
We apologize for waking you.
No, I was already awake. I've just been working on my own projects. What exactly do you need to bake in my kiln?
Hold force the item.
Protective gear, ideally.
Someone really needs this soon.
Someone who is currently defenseless.
I mean, I feel like we've all got a lot of defenses with all the guards and everything, but
That's why this person needs defenses.
I smack Voss on the side of the head.
No.
But it's too late.
yeah, Vost persuade an NPC.
I had the idea of something to say, and then that was said.
Yay!
Guess what?
The dice have started to hate us again.
No, they just hate Vost. I
Um,
think it's a hint.
she closes the door a little more, like it's not fully shut, but she's definitely in the process of fully shutting it. And goes, I don't know that I'm really comfortable using my kiln to make something that might hurt somebody. Just kind of use it to make pots and stuff. Can you maybe find somewhere else to do that? Or
Do you
make
know-
something else?
Do you know of another place in Kiln in town that we can use at this hour?
Not in Mossward, I don't think.
All right,
I kind of built the only one here, so
that's
um,
fair. Now
I mean,
we understand. Sorry for troubling you.
she pauses for a moment and then says, I guess if you're really looking for something, maybe talk with Benedict. I mean, he picks up a lot of trash around town. He might have something to help you. I don't think he can kiln that, or bake that for you, but I mean, he might be able to do something.
Thank you.
And where can we find Benedict?
Yeah, where can we find Benedict?
I mean, he's staying at and she names the or she doesn't even say the inn's name. She just says, he's staying at Frank's house. He still hasn't really found a place to live.
Oh, it's that other person.
Yeah, it's the cat you saw earlier.
Oh boy!
Oh,
Benedict often suffer hangovers.
Sorry, what?
Does this Benedict often suffer hangovers?
I mean, yeah, he drinks a lot, especially
All
at
right.
night.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you so much for the help. Sorry for bothering you. Sorry for insulting your integrity. I give Vost another jab with the elbow.
Have a good night and sweet dreams. Bless you.
Thanks. She sort of awkwardly waves and then closes the door. And then you hear a lock turning.
Yep.
So,
Hey,
Vost,
back to Benedict.
Wax Vost with the mighty book.
internal filters. Vost. You don't say that we need defenses against the guards to a civilian. You say that to a vagabond. You don't say that to a civilian.
She looked like a vagabond.
She did not look like him.
In what universe is a pottery maker of... okay, you can clearly come up with an example.
Defenses against the guards. It was to go outside of this clearing, which is what I was going to say until you said something.
Yeah, if we just said we need it for a trade or something.
Or for stuff outside the clearing. Things are scary, and the guards can't protect what's outside their reach.
Yeah, something to guard us on the path, maybe, but...
So what kind of pottery maker becomes a vagabond? One whose life's work was ruined by some asshole in a green tunic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here begs the question: what color is what Vost is wearing?
All right, let's go talk to our neighbor and see if he can't hook us up with a weapon.
Best case
Dark
scenario, he's
forest
drunk.
green.
So, Brixie and Yuki, you said you were staying at the inn having tea and flatbread with jam, correct?
Correct.
Benedict sits down next to the two of you. And he takes a moment, looks at the two of you, and goes, "So, what exactly are you two here for?" Doubt it's something as simple as coming to see the sights. Mind if I... And he just takes some of the flatbread without asking. Or without letting you respond, I should say.
Oh, okay.
She'll look over to him and she'll say, "You know, you've been very rude ever since we've arrived."
He will look at Yuki and say, "Well, I'm terribly sorry, Your Grace. I'll do my best to alleviate my rude behavior and act in a form that is proper for someone of my stature." He then proceeds to lean back in the chair and put his feet on the table.
Well, that's awfully nice. Wait, that's sarcasm, isn't it?
Ooh, a sharp one. You'll have the eerie quivering under your boots in no time.
I mean, I've already gotten a mole quivering under my... Anyway.
Well, at least it seems that you've nursed most of your sickness.
Yep, until I started all over. Terrible disease, this. Sometimes I'm dreadfully sober.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Sorry,
that
I like
line
making
a lot.
assholes.
I appreciate that line a whole lot.
Well, thank you. I don't know why. I really love making assholes like this.
Well, if you must know, I'm just someone who wanders through. I'm joined by my companions with the whoa, the worm. She can't even
Worm
remember.
Worm dream.
Worm dream. The worm dream. But it is true that I'm not so much of a pious follower, but I think that they have goals that match with my own, and truth be told, I'm just looking for the person that I lost when I came to this land.
It's a good cover story, he says, continuing to lean back. Frank swings by and sets down some a pot of tea and some cups. And you see, for the first time, brief glare from Frank. He actually looks kind of mad, and Benedict sighs and then sits normally back in his chair, feet off the table, and just sort of leaning in, scowling.
Thank you.
Just thank you for the tea.
So are you something of a vagabond yourself, Benedict?
No, I'm doing my best to become a citizen of this fine city. This fine set of clearings. 5 years in this damn hellhole, and it's all falling apart before I'll even finish.
Let's see, your cover story is as good as ours.
He looks at you and then sighs and goes, "You're right." But he grabs the tea, and you see him pour a not insignificant amount of sugar into it from the tray, and goes, "Still been 5 years since I came to this damned clearing."
And what brought you here?
What do you think? It's the Ironclaw. Got everything you could possibly want and more.
She'll take another sip of tea and then say, maybe not everything, but it's true. There's quite a lot of things to be had there.
Is there something specific you're looking to acquire?
Well, I'd like to get a little bit of my respect back, but that ship probably sailed a few years back.
Oh, I saw it going down the river in a
On
yacht.
fire.
It wasn't so much sailing as sinking.
Yeah.
Also, nothing was left alive on board. I think about this time the rest of y'all can probably be back, given how brief that little foray was.
Yep. I come in smoothly, sit down at the table across from Benedict and say, so I hear you can hook us up with maybe some equipment.
Benedict raises an eyebrow at you and then goes, well, sure, what kind of equipment are you looking for?
Just something to help a poor soul defend themselves on the road.
Oh, you're one of those types what's scared about all the beasts in the woods, huh? Those barbarians, and God help you if you find a deer.
Well, I'll admit I'm no good in a fight against any of those, but more for a friend, and I mean that literally.
All right.
Something sturdy enough, but, not necessarily the best of the best. Just something to help someone feel more comfortable.
Well, Benedict sort of looks up at you and then looks over to Frank in the kitchen, who is currently prepping some food for the lot of you who just came in, and then goes, well, truth be told, he leans in, kind of running low on money to pay Frank off so that I'm not, forced to sleep on the dirt outside. So if you could cover my stay for, I don't know, 2 more weeks or something like that, think I could part ways with something for you.
All right, what's that gonna cost us in terms of depletion?
I'm going to say it's going to cost, since it's a value 2 item, 2 depletion. It can be spread out amongst a lot of you however you want.
I'll take one because it's my thing that we're kind of funding.
I will also take the other one then.
Okay. So you split that. You pass the gold along to him, and he goes, all right, so ideally your friend doesn't get into any altercations with the guards as a result of this, but should it happen, you best make sure that the guards don't recognize this. And he slides over a dagger to you. And this dagger is clearly embossed with the Marcusat symbol.
Oh, doggy. I suspected, but oh boy.
Ooh.
It's like very clear that this knife does not come from here. But it is plenty sharp and will do a job good enough.
Yeah, maybe have something a little bit less conspicuous.
He sort of leans back and shrugs and says, sorry, parted way with most of my crap years ago.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I just take the dagger and slowly secret it away before Frank comes
Just
back
claw
in.
out the symbol.
Actually, I hand it over to Siva. Because your friend that wants it, you get to hold it.
You get to hold this probably contraband item.
Bird with a knife.
Knife
He's going to search the preacher. I mean, honestly.
Fair enough.
Who would search this face, this innocent face? I am good.
All right.
I'm still clawing out this symbol.
Alrighty. Okay, so I think that probably covers the day, correct? Unless anyone has anything else they wanted to do.
I'm good.
Vost will offer the still needing firing dagger back to Benedict. As If you can get this baked, it's yours.
He'll shrug and pocket it in the exact same spot he pulled the other dagger from. And he says, well, I got nothing but free time, so I'll find a way.
Much appreciated.
Yay.
All right, so here is my question. It's 4 p.m. We've gone 3 hours. Since my end time has been delayed, I can keep going if you would like, or we can push this off till next time. What would you all like to do?
I think now is a good stopping point.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to say.
Yeah, it's 3 hours anyway.
All right. In that case, I think
We got the point, so we're good.
you did get a point. All right. So I guess that will be the end of this session. Night falls. You all get some sleep. The sun rises, and you are ready to trek further into the Ironclaw.
All right. That was exciting. What's going to happen next? Well, for now, thank you for listening to our Spudventures. If you like what you heard, you can find more at youtube.com/Newbiespud or wherever you get your fine podcasts. We aim to live stream these games every Sunday around 2 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/Newbiespud, though today was an exception. We played it a bit earlier. If you want to keep up with this and other projects I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter at Newbiespud. And if you want to support my ability to produce more content like this, please consider supporting me at patreon.com/Newbiespud. See you next time with another session of Shadow Trots.
In space.
All right. Yeah.